Hello and welcome. It is March 16th, 2026, and what I'm about to share with you will challenge everything you've been told about space travel and orbital mechanics. Just 6 hours ago, NASA's Deep Space Network confirmed something that defies every scientific expectation, a data set with a probability of natural occurrence less than 0.004%. Let me take you back to the beginning. For months, we tracked an object, an interstellar visitor, or so we thought. At first, we assumed it was just another rock passing through our solar system, much like other objects we've observed in the past. We calculated its trajectory, we modeled its exit speed, but the data coming in now from the Very Large Array in New Mexico and the ALMA Observatory in Chile shows something entirely different. What we've learned is not just surprising, it's groundbreaking. 3I Atlas didn't leave. It didn't fly by. It didn't use the sun's gravity to assist in its journey. Instead, something far more sinister happened at exactly 8:42 UTC this morning. For the first time in history, a rock decided to break mid-flight in space. That's right, it stopped. Picture this for a moment. Imagine a bullet fired from a gun traveling at supersonic speeds, only to suddenly stop in midair and gently float next to its target. In the vacuum of space, where there is no air resistance, no friction, this should be physically impossible. A rock doesn't have brakes. It doesn't have guidance systems. Yet, 3I Atlas executed a controlled deceleration, entering a stable orbit within the main asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, a position roughly 300 million kilometers from Earth. At this point, we need to ask, how did it do this? And, more importantly, why? Let's break down the physics. The precision needed to park in the asteroid belt without colliding with the millions of fragments and debris in that region is mind-boggling. We're talking about real-time sensing and calculation, something that doesn't occur in nature. But here's where it gets truly disturbing. The object didn't just stop it carefully, positioned itself exactly 40,000 kilometers away from a metallic asteroid known as 16 Psyche, and began a synchronized formation flight pattern with it, moving with terrifying precision. This is no longer a passive object floating through space. It is an active agent. So, if 3I Atlas isn't a comet and isn't a random asteroid, what exactly is it doing in our solar system? That's the question I'm going to explore in the next section. Before we dive deeper into the implications of 3I Atlas's actions, let's examine what we were expecting. Initially, 3I Atlas was flagged by the Pan-STARRS telescope in Hawaii on the 12th of December 2025. Its trajectory was hyperbolic, which is a classic signature of an interstellar object. Hyperbolic trajectories are simple in celestial mechanics. They describe an object that enters our solar system, swings around the sun, and then exits, never to return. It's a one-way trip. We've seen it before. Oumuamua in 2017, Borisov in 2019, comets that came, passed through, and left. That was the expectation. The math was clear. The physics was standard. But then, just 48 hours ago, 3I Atlas decided to do something no other object has done before. On March 14, 2026, the object was traveling at 87 kilometers per second, a blistering speed as it passed through the main asteroid belt, that dusty region between Mars and Jupiter filled with rocky remnants from the early days of our solar system. At exactly 14:05 UTC, the telemetry changed. NASA's Deep Space Network antenna at Goldstone, California, detected a massive Doppler shift in the signal reflecting off the object's surface. This shift was unlike anything we've seen before. The object didn't just slow down due to space's vacuum, where there is no friction. No, it decelerated in a controlled fashion. Over the course of just 4 hours, 3I Atlas shed an astounding 65 kilometers per second of velocity. Now, imagine this. If you're driving a car at 100 miles per hour and you suddenly slam into a wall, your car comes to a halt. But this isn't a car hitting a wall. This is a rock in space, decelerating with no visible propulsion. No exhaust, no chemical rockets, just a smooth and clean drop in speed. The object adjusted its velocity in a way that should be impossible under natural conditions. This is where things begin to get truly weird. At first, scientists, understandably, were skeptical. Maybe the sensors were malfunctioning. Maybe there was a data error. But then, 3 independent space agencies, NASA, the European Space Agency, ESA, and the ALMA Observatory in Chile, performed their own analyses. Each came to the same conclusion. This wasn't a glitch. This was an intentional velocity change. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory analyzed the trajectory shift. Their conclusion, intentional velocity change. ESA's Gaia mission, which maps stars and asteroids with extreme precision, tracked 3I Atlas's new path. Their conclusion, stable orbit insertion. ALMA, observing in the sub-millimeter wavelength, cross-referenced the position. Their conclusion, a stationary object relative to the local asteroid population. 3 independent sources, all using different methods, all reached the same conclusion. 3I Atlas isn't just floating through our solar system. It is behaving like an engineered object, adjusting its trajectory with purpose. This breaks the rules of natural phenomena. It can't just be a comet, nor can it be an asteroid behaving like one. This is an active agent in our solar system, performing tasks that are more akin to advanced technology than anything we should expect from a natural object. But what's more unsettling is not just that 3I Atlas has stopped, it's where it stopped. The object has positioned itself in a stable orbit with an inclination of 3.2 degrees, matching the plane of the asteroid belt almost perfectly. But it didn't just choose any random spot. On March 15, 2026, at 1930 UTC, optical telescopes at the KK Observatory in Hawaii observed an anomaly. 3I Atlas began to synchronize its orbit with a specific group of asteroids known as the Gefion family, a collection of stony, silica-rich asteroids. At first glance, this sounds like a coincidence, but the more you look at the data, the more it seems deliberate. It's like a predator stalking its prey, or more accurately, like a miner finding a vein of precious materials. 3I Atlas is positioning itself next to a cluster of asteroids that are rich in raw materials, and it's not just passing by. And then things get even stranger. On March 15th, at 22:15 UTC, the Hubble Space Telescope's wide-field camera captured something that defies explanation. What we were expecting to see was a typical comet tail, a coma, a trail of gas and dust as the object outgassed materials from its surface. But instead, Hubble detected something unexpected, a high-density debris cloud forming around 3I Atlas. Now, this wasn't just a random outburst of gas or dust. The cloud wasn't expanding outward like you'd expect from a comet. Instead, it was collapsing inward, pulling small rocks, dust, and micrometeoroids from the surrounding asteroid belt directly towards the object. The spectroscopy of the debris cloud revealed signatures of silicon, iron, and magnesium materials we find in planetary bodies. It looks like 3I Atlas is actively collecting material from its environment. But here's the truly impossible part. 3I Atlas isn't big enough to generate enough gravity to pull in that much material. The gravitational mass of the object, estimated to be roughly the size of a football stadium, is far too weak to draw in debris from the asteroid belt. So, how is it doing this? The data suggests that 3I Atlas is generating a localized electromagnetic field. Rather than relying on gravity, it's using magnetism to attract and pull in iron-rich dust from its surroundings. This is a process we've never observed before. No comet has ever been seen to generate such a powerful magnetic field, and no asteroid has ever selectively pulled in material like this. What's more, 3I Atlas isn't just collecting material, it's heating it. The thermal signature from 3I Atlas has spiked significantly. At 3 UTC this morning, it spiked to 400 Kelvin, far higher than the temperature it should have been at, given its position in space. Now, it's not just a mining operation, it's refining the material it's collecting. And when we start to look at the structure that's emerging from this activity, we begin to realize just how much this changes everything we know about the universe. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into the structure that 3I Atlas is building and explore the terrifying implications of what this means for the future. In the previous sections, we explored how 3I Atlas has defied the laws of physics in ways that no natural object could. But the most chilling part of all is what it's beginning to build. While the object was pulling in material from the asteroid belt, the structure it's creating is unlike anything we've ever seen before. And it's not just any structure, it's a structure that doesn't obey the rules of nature. Let's review the key data points. We've observed that 3I Atlas is selectively gathering materials iron, nickel, cobalt, and other metals from the surrounding asteroid belt. But these aren't just random chunks of debris being haphazardly collected. They are being transformed. The object appears to be refining the raw materials it's pulling in, separating the metals from the stone, and beginning to assemble them into a structure. Here's where it gets even more extraordinary. The data from the James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, and other observatories has confirmed something absolutely mind-blowing. 3I Atlas isn't just amassing a pile of rubble. It is constructing something with perfect geometry, something that nature simply doesn't create. The structure emerging around 3I Atlas is not chaotic. It's not a random accumulation of debris. It is highly organized. In fact, the infrared images from JWST show that the object is assembling a framework with 3 distinct high-density nodes that form an equilateral triangle around the central object. Each of these nodes is separated by exactly 1.2 kilometers, with a variance of less than 0.05%. Think about that for a moment. Nature does not build perfect triangles. Nature does not build right angles. Nature doesn't create geometric shapes with that level of precision. But 3I Atlas is doing exactly that. This isn't a random event. This is construction, a very deliberate, controlled process. And here's the truly disturbing part. To maintain such perfect formation, the object would need a mechanism to actively control the position of each of these nodes. To maintain that triangle formation, you would need active thrusters, guidance systems, and micro-adjustments happening constantly. But there is no sign of exhaust or any propulsion system. No visible rockets. No exhaust plumes. Just perfect control and precision in the vacuum of space. This is where the data takes a terrifying turn. The electromagnetic field generated by 3I Atlas is so powerful that it can hold these massive chunks of rock in perfect formation. The field strength has been measured at 4,000 Tesla, about 1,000 times stronger than the most powerful MRI machine on Earth. So how is it doing this? How is it generating a magnetic field so strong that it can manipulate solid matter in the vacuum of space. It seems that 3I Atlas is using a form of magnetic levitation, a technology that, on Earth, we are only just beginning to experiment with. This object is using magnetism to lock these rocks in place, creating a highly controlled, stable structure in space. At this point, we must ask, what is it building? We are watching a process unfold that has never been observed in nature before. 3I Atlas is constructing something, and it's doing so with an unprecedented level of precision and control. But the most unsettling question is, what is it building and why? The answer may lie in the structure itself. According to the data, the formation is already 2 kilometers wide. It is growing every hour. More material is being added to the framework. What was once a triangle is beginning to take on the shape of something else, something more complex. If this is indeed a construction project, we have to consider the possibility that 3I Atlas is not simply a mining probe, it is an engineering project of some kind. But what exactly is being constructed, and for what purpose? The object's growing structure is aligned in a way that is highly significant. One face of the formation is pointed directly at the Sun, while the other is aimed at Earth. Why? Why would an object in the asteroid belt care about Earth? Why would it align itself in this specific way unless it is communicating with us? In the next part, we will explore the signal we've detected from 3I Atlas and how it changes everything we thought we knew about this object. What we've discovered could reveal even more about the nature of this structure and the purpose behind it. We've seen the impossible. We've witnessed 3I Atlas decelerating in a manner no natural object should be able to. We've watched it harvest materials from the asteroid belt, refine them, and construct a highly precise geometric structure, something that should not be possible in the vacuum of space. But now, we're confronted with something even more disturbing, a signal. On March 17, 2026, at 4 UTC, the Green Bank Telescope in West Virginia detected something that is forcing us to rethink everything we know about this object. This wasn't just any random burst of energy. It wasn't a pulsar or a natural phenomenon. This was a repeating signal, a signal with a pattern that is not natural. The signal emitted from 3I Atlas was not random. It repeated every 11 seconds. But what was even more intriguing was what the signal contained. Hidden within that repetition was a sequence of prime numbers, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13 prime numbers, the building blocks of mathematics, numbers that have no natural explanation in the universe. Now, why is this so significant? Let's break it down. Pulsars, those rapidly rotating neutron stars, emit signals, but they don't know prime numbers. Hydrogen atoms don't do math. Nature doesn't count in this way. Prime numbers have long been considered a potential sign of intelligent communication, and this signal, with its repeating pattern and sequence of prime numbers, suggests one thing. 3I Atlas is not just an object. It's not a comet. It's not a random asteroid. It is communicating. So, why would an object like 3I Atlas, stationed in the asteroid belt, emit a signal with prime numbers embedded in it? What's even more troubling is the realization that this object might not just be communicating with us, it might be listening to us too. The alignment of 3I Atlas's structure with the Sun and Earth, the geometric precision in the formation of its nodes, and now this repeating signal all point to one terrifying possibility. This is no longer a passive object in our solar system. It's a probe, and it is sending out a signal with a purpose. But the signal itself isn't just a simple communication. It's a call, a beacon, and its transmitting coordinates are coordinates. At this point, the idea that 3I Atlas is simply an anomaly in space seems increasingly unlikely. The evidence is stacking up. The object has a high level of intelligence behind it, an engineering force at work. It has been building a structure with highly advanced technology using powerful magnetic fields to manipulate matter. And now it is sending us a signal with prime numbers embedded in it. So, who or what is on the other side of that signal? Is it trying to reach out to us? And if so, what are the consequences of answering that call? In the next part, we will examine the implications of this signal and what happens next. The answer might be more terrifying than we can even comprehend. As we step into the final chapter of this unfolding mystery, the data we've collected over the past few days has taken a dramatic turn. We now understand that 3I Atlas is not just a passive object in space. It is an active, purposeful agent, an object with capabilities that defy the limits of our current understanding of physics. On March 17th at 4 UTC, the signal detected by the Green Bank telescope was not just an invitation, it was a warning. Just hours after the prime number sequence was detected, the energy output from 3I Atlas spiked dramatically. The object released more energy in a single pulse than the Sun does in an entire year. And this wasn't just a simple energy release. It was a power surge, a surge that changed everything we thought we knew about 3I Atlas. This pulse of energy wasn't aimed at Earth. It wasn't aimed at the Sunday. It wasn't even directed at any nearby planet. The beam, as confirmed by the Chandra X-ray Observatory, was focused directly at Jupiter, the gas giant with the strongest magnetic field in our solar system. And here's what that means. 3I Atlas is siphoning energy from Jupiter's magnetic field. It's using Jupiter as a battery, a power source. The efficiency of this energy transfer is staggering, almost 99%. This is not a natural phenomenon. This is a technology far beyond anything we've ever encountered. A civilization capable of tapping into the magnetic field of an entire planet, extracting vast amounts of energy to fuel its operations. But that's not all. The true nature of 3I Atlas's construction has become even clearer. The structure that has been slowly forming around the object is not just a simple building, it's a particle accelerator, a massive hexagonal array of superheated metal now 2 kilometers wide, and just hours ago, the Spitzer Space Telescope detected a thermal plume emanating from the center of the object. The temperature? A staggering 3,500 degrees Kelvin, hot enough to melt tungsten. This is not a construction project in the traditional sense. This is a particle accelerator capable of generating energy on an unimaginable scale. And now, with this sudden surge of power, the structure of 3I Atlas is shifting into overdrive. The implications are both profound and terrifying. 3I Atlas is no longer just mining raw materials from the asteroid belt. It is gathering energy. It is refining those materials. It is building a structure capable of harvesting power on a planetary scale. And the most chilling part? It is aiming that power at Jupiter, tapping into its magnetic field to fuel an operation that goes beyond anything we've seen before. But there's more. As the data from the Chandra X-ray Observatory reveals, the beam from 3I Atlas is not just harvesting energy. It is generating a beam of high-energy particles that is capable of distorting space-time itself. The energy density at the center of the particle accelerator is approaching the critical limit necessary for creating a stable wormhole, a doorway in space. If this object is opening a wormhole, the question we must ask is, what or who is coming through? Is this the beginning of something we're not prepared for? The scientific consensus is shifting. This is not a natural event. This is not a random anomaly. This is a Type 2 civilization at work, harnessing the energy of a planet to manipulate space and time itself. As the energy from 3I Atlas continues to rise, the distortion in spacetime grows stronger. The event horizon is expanding, and in less than 12 hours, it will be large enough for a physical object to pass through. The signal has changed once again. No longer is it counting prime numbers. Now, it's broadcasting coordinates that lead straight to us. As the clock ticks down and the events continue to unfold, we stand at the precipice of a discovery that could change everything we know about the universe. The implications of 3I Atlas's actions are far-reaching, and we are witnessing a breakthrough that may reshape the future of humanity. Do you want to be a part of this incredible journey? Do you want to know what happens next as this cosmic mystery unravels? Subscribe now to stay informed and be the first to hear about the latest developments in the 3I Atlas story. Don't miss out. This is only the beginning.